Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it? Well, finally time to break my upload drought with the yearly collection update, where I'm gonna go over everything I added to the collection in 2025 since that year has now come to an end, and at the end of the video, I'm gonna be explaining, where I've been, why I haven't been uploading, and generally stuff that pertains to the future of my two YouTube channels, which are currently uncertain, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, let's see what's new in the collection. Starting off with the video game side of things, as per usual, there's only 2 new physical video games to talk about just like last year. First up, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, which I mostly bought for the QCR Harpies Feather Duster, but also for the chance to get to play some games that were never released in America before. The other game I got physically this year was Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, since I rented the Wii version from my local library back in the early 2010s, but never finished it, so I saw this as an opportunity to close that book once and for all. And yes, this is the PAL version, since I got it as a gift, but the person who gave it to me accidentally got the PAL version, but it's all good, because it still runs just fine on my Switch. Also, there were only 2 new games I got digitally this year, those being Gigabash and Pokemon Home, and even then, you might not count Pokemon Home, since it's not really a game, but still. Yeah, this year I decided I might move away from gaming on Nintendo consoles for certain reasons. That's all I'm gonna say. I may not have gotten a lot of new games this year, but I did get a ton of new shows, films, and such on Blu-ray and DVD. Starting with Discotech Media's release of the first 3 Digimon movies. Or, well, the first 2 films and the short film, if you want to get technical. They gave these brand new English dubs with most of the surviving original cast, plus they remastered the original Digimon movie that they released at theaters in 2000, although they couldn't include the Angela Anaconda short that comes before it due to, if I remember correctly, licensing issues. From Sony Pictures Home Entertainment, here is the complete series release of The Spectacular Spider-Man, which ended way too early. It got cancelled because of Disney's Marvel acquisition, which... just another reason for me to hate Disney. Mill Creek's Ultra Galaxy Fight Collection, which includes all 3 parts of the Ultra Galaxy Fight trilogy, as well as the tie-in miniseries Ultraman Regulos and Ultraman Regulos First Mission. I mentioned how I had part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean on the way from a family friend in the 2024 collection update, but after months and months of waiting, we realized that the back order was never gonna arrive, so we just went and ordered a new one, and that one showed up almost immediately. So here it is, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean Part 1, the limited edition version. From G-Kids, here is Arcane League of Legends Season 1, which I've heard good things about, so that's why I decided to pick it up. Season 2, not so much. From the BBC, here is Doctor Who, William Hartnell, Complete Season 2, the most intact of the 6 classic Doctor Who seasons from the 60s, since it's only missing 2 episodes. Kino Lorber's Sci-Fi Chillers collection, which includes The Unknown Terror, The Colossus of New York, and Destination Inner Space. Disney Home Video's 2013 release of Lilo & Stitch, the 2-movie collection, which includes both the original Lilo & Stitch and Stitch Has a Glitch. I went for an older release because I heard some of the newer releases have censored some of the scenes, and I don't like that. From Paramount, here is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on 4K and Blu-ray. Discotech Media's release of Kamen Rider V3, which managed to carry over most of the special features from the now out-of-print Generation Kikaida release, which is cool. These next two are both Super Sentai seasons coming to us courtesy of Shout Factory. Here is Chojin Sentai Jetman and Tokuso Sentai Deca Ranger. And by the way, yes, I have heard that after Gojuger ends this February, that Super Sentai is going on an indefinite hiatus while they revive Metal Heroes. And also, apparently, this image right here is actually from Power Rangers SPD, which was adapted from Deca Ranger. And if that's true, then... oops. From Warner Bros. Home Video, here is The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, which predates Godzilla by a year. A film I am very happy to add to the collection. Here is Disney's Hercules. From Mill Creek, here is their complete series release of Ultraman Z, which, since Ultraman Z didn't get a movie since it was released right in the middle of the pandemic, doesn't come with the film, but they did make a little something called Savender Fight, a mini-series, which didn't get included with this either, and it's like, what the heck? Previously, the only place you could view it on was Ultraman Connection, but now that that's shut down, there's no legal way to view Savender Fight in the US. So, what's up with that? Also from Mill Creek, here is their complete series release of Ultraman Arc, which actually does include the movie, since Ultraman Arc did get a movie titled The Clash of Light and Evil. Sorry if you can't read that very well. But this is also the final release by Mill Creek before they rebranded into Alliance Home Entertainment, starting with Ultraman 4K Discovery, which I'm not going to be picking up because I don't have anything that can play 4K. Discotech Media's release of Android Kikaider, which I figure, now that Sentai is going on an indefinite hiatus this year, like I said, I might as well broaden my horizons and check out more tokusatsu that's not just Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, or Super Sentai. Also from Discotech, here is their release of Kamen Rider X. From Scream Factory, here is the Deadly Mantis, which I mainly also got for the fact that there is an Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode riffing on it included. Throughout 2025, Mystery Science Theater 3000, I got into that show, and it served as a source of comfort for me during stressful times. Also from Scream Factory, here is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. From Film Masters, here is Monster from the Ocean Floor. These last three all come to us courtesy of Cartoon Network and Warner Bros. Home Video, starting with Courage the Cowardly Dog, the complete series, which it doesn't include the pilot, The Chicken from Outer Space, but it's available online. So next up is Dexter's Laboratory, the complete series. I say complete series with an asterisk because it doesn't include the two banned episodes, Barbacore or Rue Removal, but I've got those downloaded anyway. Last but not least is an upgrade. Here is the 2024 reissue of the Powerpuff Girls complete series box set. I got this reissue for three main reasons. One, the discs aren't double-sided, which makes them a lot easier to handle. Two, these discs don't suffer from disc rot like the original does. And three, the reissue takes a lot less shelf space up, as you can see by how I have them side by side. Hey, Kraken from the future here, as in one day after filming the collection update. And there's technically one more film that is in the new editions list for 2025, and that's the Arrow Video release of Pitch Black. See, when I got this film for Christmas, they accidentally got me the 4K Ultra HD version, which only includes a 4K Ultra HD disc instead of a 4K Ultra HD and a Blu-ray, which is a problem because I don't have anything that can play 4K video. So we had to send it back and then seek out and purchase a regular Blu-ray of Pitch Black, but now it's finally here. And I know this technically arrived after 2025 ended, but I did get the film in the closing days of 2025, so technically this is a new addition to the collection in that year, but let's just get back to the video. Those are all the new DVDs and or Blu-rays I got this year. So now, it's time to move on to the plush. And spoilers, it's mostly just plants and zombies, though with 2 special guests. These first 6 are all plush from Playful Plush Toys / Links and 2, starting with Colonel Polt, Chili Bean, Squash, Iceberg Lettuce, the Gargantuar and his imp on the back, and here is a Swashbuckler zombie. From Amaze Holdings and Terminal Montage, here is Nabiu from the pilot The Fruitless Quests of Nabiu. And last up, from Kid Robot Funny, here is Ladybug. I got Cat Noir last year, and I managed to track down a Ladybug this year. I was also gonna try to get Arena Rouge, but as far as I can tell, the Arena Rouge plush went unreleased, as I haven't been able to find any in-hand images of the plush. But hey, Ladybug and Cat Noir will do just fine. These are the new plush I got this year. The least I've gotten in a single year since, like, 2021, I think. On to the new LEGO sets I got in 2025, of which there are 2, starting with a belated Christmas gift, the LEGO Star Wars Buildable Droideka. Here's the little informational stand that it comes with. And the other new LEGO set I got this year was the 76300 Batman Arkham Asylum, which for all intents and purposes has replaced my LEGO Batman movie Arkham Asylum, because not only does it go with my other modulars, it just looks absolutely gorgeous next to them and saves a lot more space. Time to go on to the new vinyl figures I acquired in 2025. First up for the new figures is a minifig of Crazy Dave from Plants vs. Zombies. If I don't decide to get a custom plush of him, like what Luigi Fan Quadruple 1 has, then this is how I'm going to be representing Crazy Dave in my videos. Yeah, he's tiny compared to my plush, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? From Bandai's Ultra Monster Advance line, here is Niji Kagachi, who appeared in episodes 7 and 8 of Ultraman Blazar, and okay, I pre-ordered this figure from Big Bad Toy Store in August of 2023, and it took until April of this past year to get here. Now, I'm not blaming Big Bad Toy Store, because I know sometimes shipments can get a bit mixed up, especially with all the tariffs these days, but man, I waited so long for this guy. Also, one thing I forgot to mention about the Ultra Kaiju Advanced Niji Kagachi before we move on, it came with the MOTU option parts that if you have the Deluxe Earth Garon, you can clip it to its back to unlock some additional sound lines. Unfortunately, the only way they made the Mod 3 unit available was with a re-release through Premium Bandai, which I skipped out on, so I'm not going to be able to get that. Also from the Ultra Monster Advance line, here is Grime, the first enemy of Ultraman Omega. Bandai Ultra Monster Series Skulla. And also a cool little bonus I wanted to show off. person I bought Skola from on eBay has a daughter, and she packed in this little origami Godzilla and this little origami Ultraman head to go with my purchase, which was really cute. Next up, a grail I managed to get my hands on this year. Here is the Ultra Monster Deluxe Lugosite, the final boss of Ultraman Rube. Ultra Monster Advance Eldiginera, which also comes with parts that allow you to replicate its appearance while it's got Grime and Dugrid absorbed. Another grail, here is the Ultra Monster Deluxe Snake Darkness, who is the main kaiju in the Ultraman Rube film. Bandai Movie Monster Series Imago Batra. That's right, I finally have an Imago Batra after having had the larval Batra since 2014, so that's about 11 years now. Last up, also from Bandai's Movie Monster Series, here is the Monsterverse Evolved Godzilla, as first seen in Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. Those are all the new vinyl figures I acquired this year. So now it's time to move on to the Transformers and the Masters of the Universe Origins, which I only got one new Masters of the Universe Origins related thing, and it was a vehicle, and only 4 new Transformers, 2 of which you probably see right now. With the exception of the last one, all the new Transformers I got this year are part of the Legacy United toy line, starting with the Deluxe Class Gears. Also a Deluxe Class, here is Cosmos, who is actually a reissue of the Velocitron collection, one from the original Legacy toy line, which, good on them for reissuing this figure when it was impossible to find back then. Another reissue from the Velocitron collection that was originally impossible to find, at least here in the States. Here is the Leader Class Galaxy Shuttle. And last up for the Transformers this year, here is the Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime, which I can safely say this will be the definitive Optimus Prime of my collection. I can finally replace the vintage G1 reissues Optimus, which wasn't bad, but it just makes me long for more, you know? Especially since this Optimus actually comes with his trailer and a bunch of accessories. And for the one new Masters of the Universe Origins related thing I added to the collection this year, here is the Collector from the Cartoon Collection. So, with that section done and over with, oh, and don't mind those, they're just there because I needed to dig through the plush pile to get Ladybug and Nabiu. It is time to get to the final segment of this video, the new Figuarts and Monsterarts, and also figures from similar hyper-articulated toy lines. Starting off pretty big, here is the SH Figuarts King of Mons, who appeared in the 1999 Ultraman Gaia film, The Battle for Hyperspace, and then took 25 years off until his reappearance in Ultraman Arc Episode 21. I finally have the King of Mons and its 2 subjects, Basilis, formerly known as Bajiris, and Skola, all together. Next up, from Titanic Creations, here is Yongari, the 1960s version. Which, fun fact, did you know that the original South Korean version of his film is lost? Yeah, the only widely accessible version is the English dubbed version of his film. SH Figuarts Becky Blackbell, which I'm not really sure if I'm gonna hang on to her, considering that my interest in Spy Family has kind of fallen off, as has the anime's popularity since I got the Figuarts of Anya Forger back in 2022. And yeah, that most likely means I won't actually be getting Lloyd and Yor either. But anywho, we have a new record holder for most expensive purchase I've ever made. Here is the Soul of Chogokin GX114 Marquis Janus, who came as part of a set with the Soul of Chogokin GX12R Venus A, with both of these being from the Mazinger franchise. From Hiya Toys, here is the Skull Devil from Kong Skull Island, SH Figuarts Alien Hipporit, and now, as an effect part set for Ultraman Arc, hence why he's here again, here is the Galaxy Armor, which I've chose to have him don. Next up, a massive upgrade. Here is the SH Figuarts Galactron. Way more in scale with the rest of my collection than the Ultra Monster Orb Deluxe one. From the Good Smile Company's Moderoid line, here is a model kit of Access Code Talker from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, also known as an N-board staple for many years. And I'm just gonna say it, this model kit build was not as fun as my first one, Beelzemon. Why? The arms. Because just like Aubrey Molehill, they have a tendency to dislocate and fall apart, and getting them back on is not easy. Hell, this wrist guard right here actually broke off because the hand wouldn't get on. So I basically had to super glue it back to the piece it shattered off of, which, yeah, that's another huge dock of points. But, moving on from that little hiccup, here is the SH Monsterarts Monsterverse Mechagodzilla Final Battle Edition, which I held out on because I knew this was coming when I saw the original get released. And I was right to do so, because this one's packed with additional effects parts and the like. And from SH Monsterarts to the SH Monsterarts Killer from Hiya Toys, here is Shimo from Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. And I've just gotta say, this thing is a quarter of the price of the SH Monsterarts Shimo, and it kicks that thing's ass in pretty much every way. So, Bandai, what are you doing with the Godzilla Monsterarts? Well, at least we've got the SH Figuarts line and the Tokusatsu stuff from that. Speaking of which, from that line, here is the Father of Ultra, and the SH Figuarts Mother of Ultra, which unfortunately came out of the box damaged, because this head fin right here came snapped off, which really sucks, especially since this was a Bandai Premium Webshop exclusive, which, if you know those, you know that they're a one-and-done production run, so unless the Mother of Ultra gets reissued in the future, I'm gonna have to live with this. Yeah, there you go, you can see it better. But, going from Ultraman to Kamen Rider, next up, we have the SH Figuarts Shinkocho Seiho Kamen Rider Ryuki. SH Figuarts Shinkocho Seiho Kamen Rider Stronger, which, as those of you who follow me on DeviantArt might know, is the design basis for the Ladybug in my Miraculous Ladybug AU titled Miraculous Beyond. SH Figuarts Ultraman Omega from the currently airing, as of recording this, Ultraman series. From SH Monsterarts, here is Stardust Dragon, the ace monster of Yusei Fudo, the main protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. And yeah, mine came with a right wing that's pretty floppy, so I may have to go in there and tighten up that joint. But I've really been getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Over the past 2 years. I started collecting the cards again after, piecing out around the start of the Link era, and what can I say? With Nintendo anymore, I needed a new hobby, and shiny cardboard's fun. SH Figuarts Ultraman Cosmos Luna Mode. And last but definitely not least, ending off the yearly collection update is probably the biggest figure currently in my collection. Here is the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Heisei King Ghidorah. And this knocks SH Monsterarts out of the water. Or blows them out of the water, sorry. Because, damn, the camera doesn't do it justice, but this thing isn't just colossal, it's gorgeous. And just so you can get a sense of its scale with how, you know, big the wings are, here it is next to my original Heisei King Ghidorah figure from the Movie Monster series, and the former biggest figure in my collection, Venusaur. As you can see, the Hiya King Ghidorah's wingspan just barely beats out Venusaur, but that does bring up one problem. That being, where am I gonna put it with a wingspan that big? A good question for another time, but for now, here is everything I got in 2025. And now, this is where I would do the general Q&A, but this time around it's going to be in the pinned comments so that I can address the elephant in the room that I brought up at the start of the video. You know, regarding where I've been, what's been holding up all the videos, stuff like that. So, I'll let myself with a pre-recorded message take it from here. Right now, I've got to put all this stuff back. Take it away, me. Okay, hey. As of recording this, 2026 is less than 10 hours away, and yeah, it's time to get into what I said I would at the start of this video. So, 2025 was, in a word, turbulent. It started off pretty okay, though as it went on, more and more cracks just began popping up. Nintendo business practices made me give up on them after being a lifelong fan up to that point. AI and its data centers, primarily generative AI, but also with how tech companies and platforms use it, are reducing quality of life in most, if not all, facets. YouTube feels like it's getting increasingly hostile toward creators. My cat that I had since 2012 passed away, though to be fair, he was getting old. And worst of all, our world governments made, or are trying to make, places increasingly more like surveillance states using children as a sword and shield. Which, don't get me wrong, I want kids to be safe online, but they're trying to use that as an excuse to ram nightmarish bills and laws down our throats instead of, for instance, encouraging parents or schools to educate kids on internet safety, making sure parents actually monitor their kids' online activity, like where they go or who they talk to, or putting more funding toward law enforcement so they can track down cyber criminals. As is, though, feels like the rest of the class is being suspended for something just one student did. On a personal note, it's all led my catastrophic thoughts I've been struggling with to be at their worst, especially in the last 2 months of the year. While I've been pumping out loads more art and writing, and I successfully finished scripting Plants vs. Zombies the series this year, my video output hit an all-time low with my video editing program being rendered inert at the start of June, and me not having the motivation to make any videos since then because of it. But my motivation for that may have taken an even bigger hit after seeing YouTube go full speed ahead on AI and AI moderation that negatively affects accounts, especially after their AI mislabeled me with age verification BS this past November. I got it sorted out successfully the next day, but I still feel some psychological shock. YouTube's AI being on kind of a warpath, taking down accounts without any warning, is also scaring me from doing much in the way of videos, in case I make one wrong step that provokes the AI into nuking my channels from orbit. Hell, I've had my next video editing program of choice, DaVinci Resolve, on my laptop since August, but I've never even touched it until I had to make this collection update, or at least I hope I do, because I can't just let it gather dust forever. I haven't even been motivated to film anything since last July, which that was when I realized it got so bad that I had to officially stop giving out ETAs for my videos and just shift their release dates to when it's done. But speaking of my videos, Amidst thoughts of winding down on the plush tubing side of things this year, I've been heavily considering just indefinitely shelving, if not canceling, Total Something You Know Whatever. Not only have I missed its projected release year twice now and didn't complete any new episode scripts for it this year, I don't feel any motivation to work on it, especially with how some plot and character beats would drastically date the show in a few years' time if they haven't already. Something I want to avoid in lieu of making my work timeless these days. I already had to take the videos following the Robot Flame Gaiden episode Getting the Force back to the drawing board for that reason, but reworking a whole series is going to be far harder. I don't want it to end up like, for example, Duke Nukem Forever or Metroid Prime 4, where there's so much anticipation only for the final product to not deliver on expectations. So I think it might just be easier and less taxing on me to shelve Total Something You Know Whatever like I did the planned sequels to Welcome to Mario Kart, which won't be made now that, among other things, I've already bought up, SMG4 ended. In related news, my comment about him at the end of last August aged like milk. I really wanted to achieve a balance with everything in my life. My connections both in real life and online, videos, writing, art, animation, and such at the start of 2025. But as time goes on, I'm starting to think I may truly retire from plush tubing soon. Given how much time I devote to artistic and literary avenues now, since I'm working on a novel whose manuscript I hope to finish in the new year, and a miraculous Ladybug AU, plus how I'm planning on getting my driving learner's permit again in the new year so I can finally start learning to drive and get my license like I've been meaning to, as well as maybe start a job search after that, something has to give. I'm sorry if me saying any of this let you guys down, and I'm sorry for posting so many promos, promises, and projected release dates over the years but not being able to deliver. Especially with this year where I've had my lowest video output ever. Life just got in the way and my ambitions have been changing ever since the summer of 2023 when I began my final year of college. I still absolutely want to try to finish most, if not all, of my other planned plush tubing videos, especially the series, and I still do want to do animation and other random content. Maybe something will come along to reignite my flame, but once I've finished Panty and Stocking Plush, Plants vs. Zombies the series, Robot Flame Gaiden, and a few standalone videos I have planned, that'll most likely be where I officially retire from plush tubing. This being said, like I've said before, rest assured that everything's gonna stay up for future generations to enjoy for as long as possible, even after I move on to bigger and better things. So, to prevent this from ending off on a dour note, in my personal quest I started late in 2025 to think more positively and manage my anxiety, I've had to teach myself that my catastrophic thoughts, among other types of what I've started calling garbage thoughts, don't have any true power or sway over anything by themselves, can't speak or think for me, and can only try terrifying me or getting me hung up on things, fears, and/or hypotheticals. Because yeah, the future's uncertain, but one thing's for sure. I made it through another year that too was uncertain no matter what it threw at me, with some good things happening along the way I ought to take note of. Especially where I was expecting the worst only for that to not come to pass. And hey, you guys made it too. Take a deep breath and a break if you ever need to, but know you've got this and I'm proud of you for making it to the end of this rough year. I hope you guys and those you hold dear have nothing but happiness, well health, and success in your futures, cause you all deserve it. Anyway, to speak on behalf of my future self after he recorded all this video stuff, if you saw a new addition to the collection that's your favorite, comment about it below, and while you're at it, like and subscribe if you haven't already, since interaction's good for the algorithm. Again, the general Q&A will be in the pinned comments, and thanks for tuning in. I'll try to do more on the channel this year despite everything, and that just about does it. Cracking out, and time for my future self to go put all this stuff back.